in an absolute state of panic beyond anything I can describe. I sat up, but my body did not. I knew that if I vacated it, the thing that was at the foot of my bed, which was darker than the darkness with two absolutely just burning red eyes, would try to inhabit it and push me out. So I tried to lay back down to be in the proximity of my body. The only thought that I could muster at that moment was, God help me.
Welcome to God's Voice Daily. I'm your host, Vladimir Proknevsky, and this is the channel where I share daily phone calls with people from around the world who've had real supernatural encounters with Jesus, angels, demons, and everything in between. Some of these calls go on to become full episodes on our main show called God's Voice Today, but here you will hear them raw and unfiltered, just the way they happened. So without any further ado, let's dive into today's featured call. Enjoy.
Yeah, I was looking at your description. It says that you were in 10th grade, right?
Yes, I was. I went to a Christian high school. I was Presbyterian-based. We were studying cults for the first semester in our Bible class, and I decided I've always been an outside-the-box thinker, and so I asked my teacher, could I do a report on determining whether the UFO phenomenon is technological, alien, or demonic? And that's what led into the experience. Yeah.
Okay, tell me more.
Well, I had just finished penning the paper. Then I was going to turn it in. It was like a Friday night, and I finished, and I went to lay down. It was 10 o'clock, and my bedroom was, you had to go, the house was built in 1920, so you had to go outside the house, and my bedroom was where the old garage used to be underneath. So it was nice for me back there. But what happened was, after I went to sleep, I woke up, and in an absolute state of panic beyond anything I can describe, I sat up, but my body did not.
Whoa. So you were clearly outside of your body.
Yes, but I knew that if I vacated it, the thing that was at the foot of my bed, which was darker than the darkness with two absolutely just burning red eyes, would try to inhabit it and push me out. So I tried to, as best I could, lay back down to be in the proximity of my body, which, after a few minutes, I got to where I just felt that the body was struggling to breathe. The only thought that I could muster at that moment was to call out. And I tried to say, God help me, but the mouth moved, but there was no air coming out. The second time I did it was just almost like a whisper, God help me. And the third time it was, God help me. And when the crescendo of the voice came, I was slammed back into my body, and a hand I saw coming from my right side, from behind me, backhanded that thing out of my room, and I heard my Heavenly Father's voice say, "Get away from my son." That was, yeah.
Wow.
So it was a very, very frightening experience, yes. And there were at least 1, 2, 3 other times I was in different situations where I sensed the presence of that very spirit at a distance. Like,
what do you think that spirit was?
It was demonic. Absolutely. I know it was.
Do you think by studying the UFOs and all that stuff, do you think it opened the door?
Well, the thing is that my research pointed to the fact that it was demonic phenomena. And so it was trying to frighten me. That was the conclusion of my paper, was that it was demonic, at least in part demonic phenomena.
So it's almost like validated your research.
Oh, it did. It did in the most frightening way possible, but yes.
And how old were you?
I was 16.
Wow, so you were already of age, old enough to know.
Oh,
Interesting.
Yeah.
Well, what do you make of that? Why do you think that experience happened to you?
I really am not 100% certain. All I know is that in my freshman year, first week of school, I gave my life to Christ at First Assembly that we had for the year. But I know that right there sealed me from not being taken over. I definitely know that was the fact that the Holy Spirit sealed me and protected me from that. So
interesting. So 16 years old, clearly you're not 16 anymore, right? It's been many years. You had some time. Yeah.
I'll be 62. I'll be 62 in July.
Wow. That's awesome. So many
Yep.
years ago, how does that
Oh,
experience affect your walk with God or just life in general, like the trajectory after that experience?
Well, after that experience, I have had many occasions to have actual literal back and forth conversations with the Father, the Son, and even one with the Spirit. There was a conversation, but he normally doesn't talk. He normally just gives me images and I get an impression of what he's trying to tell me. But I'm actually working on a book called Conversations with Dad that will chronicle my conversations with the Father, Son, and the Spirit. But it's still quite a work in progress.
Tell me one or two things from those conversations that really stood out to you, like some of the conversations that my listeners need to hear. Go ahead.
First one, I'm sorry, I had time to get my grandson to go back
Gotcha,
in.
no worries.
Trying to sneak out. But the first one, I'm going to just back it up to when in 11th grade, when I was roughhousing with some friends out in front of my parents' the house I grew up in. I had a friend of mine named Brad, who was a self-proclaimed atheist and freethinker, who posed a question to me that many Christians get posed. It says, how can a loving God send anyone to a place as horrible as hell forever? And I wrestled with that question because the canned answers you get, it just didn't set to answer the question. And so in 1992, which was several years after I graduated high school, about 10 years actually, I was working for Domino's, so I was hanging those coupon door flyers, and I was asking that question. Walking down the road, I just heard, and I recognized my father's voice from that night before. I heard him say the word polarity. I'm like, stopped in my tracks and said, excuse me? And I heard polarity. I said, you mean like positive and negative poles and such? He said, yeah. I said, well, what does that have to do with it? He said, everything. I said, please explain it to me. He said, all right. When I created everything, it was all in a alignment with my wavelength of energy. When a guilt and shame, which is the root of all sin, guilt and shame, entered into Adam and Eve, it caused their wavelength to become oppositional to mine. That's what sin does, is fear, doubt, worry, all turn us into a darker state as an individual. And he said, now think of this. If someone was to enter into my presence that was in a wavelength of energy that was in opposition to me, what would that be? I said, that would be hell in every sense of the word. He said, exactly. He said, when you don't take the free gift I've given in my son, you condemn yourselves, because it's like refusing to take an inoculation for a virus that can actually cure you of the disease. And you die not having taken the virus. And so you're in opposition to my very nature, which lies within you. So that was a very eye-opener there, that it's not that he condemns us, we condemn ourselves. He said, I don't condemn you. What happens is when you come before me and you look at the image of Christ that I put in you as your conscience, and you look at the sin that's in your heart and in your life, and you know that you don't match that, and you know that you didn't accept that salvation, you, in the quest for justice that you have in your own heart, you condemn yourself. And all I do is I come into agreement with you so that you can go off to the place of sequestration, away from, because actually where hell is dark, because I've heard so many people talk about hell being a very, very dark place from their near-death experiences over and over and over again. Even the Bible says it's dark. And he is described, I cannot remember which one of the passages in the Old Testament, it says that he shrouds himself in darkness. That he even told me in a subsequent conversation with that one, he said, son, hell is a place of mercy to a certain degree, and that it's dark. They're not getting the full brunt of my being because I'm still shielding them there because I'm merciful. They're getting punished, but it's not as much as it could be. I said, wow. Yeah. So he is merciful. And another thing, when he talked about to me about the parable, actually Yeshua, the son, talked to me about the parable of Lazarus and the rich man. And he said, do you know that the rich man was actually getting mercy? And I said, how is that? He said, because everything that was good, everything that was light, everything that was of the kingdom was causing pain and suffering to the rich man. If Lazarus had been able to take him something, it would have increased the man's torment, and it would have caused Lazarus inner torment in himself, seeing the other man's pain increased rather than relieving his pain and suffering. That's why the divide was a mercy to both parties.
Wow. It's interesting to bring up fear, doubt, and worry. So on this side, when we dwell in fear, doubt, worry, anxiety, how important it is not to do that, right? Because it doesn't bring anything good.
Yeah, and the single most important thing, I can tell you, I've been through the ringer, even through a heart attack, couple of strokes, some TIAs, 6 months homelessness, a hip replacement, multiple. I've been through a lot in the last 10 years, but the one thing that I learned, even in the midst of being homeless, I was having a conversation, and that love is the center of everything. He said, perfect love casts out all fear.
So if you're in fear, that means you're not in love, right? You can't be in fear and love at the same time.
I actually, First John, I think it's chapter 4. It even speaks of that. It says, because those who have fear have not been perfected in love. That love, because we don't love ourselves the way that he loves us. And we don't even love, and when we don't love ourselves, that means we're condemning us. The word perfect, when he said perfect love casts out all fear, if you look in the Greek, it means completed or matured. So matured love basically extinguishes fear. It casts it out. It displaces the fear out of your heart, out of your soul, out of your being, when you walk in the love of Christ.
And it's intentional, right?
Yes, first to yourself, then to those around you, also to the Father, because one thing that when you read in Matthew, when he talks about, when they asked him, Master, what is the greatest commandment? He says, first one is love the Lord your God with all your heart, mind, and strength. Second one is just like it, love your neighbor as yourself. And these two, the whole of the law, all of it is summed up in these two things. And that's echoed again in First John chapters 3 and 4. Just pour out about this is how we know we are in Him, and He is in us, and that we continue to love one another, and we continue to love Him. So love is the key to the whole of our salvation experience. Once we are in that relationship with, and I use His Hebrew name, Yeshua, because that's what He was when He walked in the earth. When we walk in relationship with Him and the Father, then it transcends everything. And that's what He really wants. He wants us to be the children of the Father. Now, one of the last conversations I had with him, it wasn't really a conversation. This was, I believe, the Spirit showing me something. I was standing in the throne room, and it didn't look like the picture of any throne anyone's ever seen. What it looked like is the Father in a big, and I know this was metaphorical, lazy boy recliner with his kids in his lap, and he's saying, okay, son, what did you do today? And just like a father interested in his children, loving them, engaging in their life, engaging in their little ones in his lap. That is my vision of the throne of my Father in heaven.
Powerful.
Not a condemning, but a loving,
I love this idea, this idea of choosing love. We have a choice, right? Choose love,
yes,
choose life. You can't fight love and win. So if you choose to put on that love, show love to everybody and make your decisions, make everything out of love. When you dwell in love, you can't have fear, right? Doubt, worry. When you put on that identity, loving, kind, powerful stuff.
It has to be who and what you truly are. It can't be a fake. It can't be a show. It can't be a mask. It has to be truly who and what you really are, down to the core of who you are.
And it takes time to get to that, right?
Oh, absolutely. In the same way that you take a piece of very, very parched earth, it takes a long time of just gradual light rain to get down into the ground. And even once it starts to soften up on the surface, it takes a long time.
Well, it's like gold has to be melted like 7 times, right? It's 7 times, meaning right. I guess when we go through trials, that's why I think the Bible talks about rejoice when problems come your way, because it makes you more loving and kind. I guess it could make you more loving and kind, or you can choose the opposite. You can have resentment, hate.
It's all in how you react to the
That's
situation.
why you choose love, choose life.
Absolutely. That's it.
Gray, this was powerful. Thank you so much for sharing your. And by the way, the book, you mentioned the book. What was the title of the book again?
I'm going to be calling it Conversations with Dad. And the title and the author is going to be G. Raymond Small. That's Raymond's my middle name. That's what I go by. But it'll be G. Raymond Small, Conversations with Dad.
And when do you think you'll have it published?
Oh, God. It takes money to publish. I'm working. Hopefully, by the start of next year would be nice, because I'm just really struggling right now with finances. I've been trying.
Are you looking for a publisher?
If somebody could help cover the costs, I'd be willing to work some deals. I've even got another where another book I've worked on that is completed, I actually took the book of Matthew and turned it into a poem called The Poem of Matthew. TBN wants to do it, but the money was just too much to pay for the publishing costs for that.
Well, I have some friends in the publishing industry, for Christian publishing industry. I'd be happy to connect you if you want. I highly encourage you to start a YouTube channel and just not just do a book, but also create videos talking about all the little things from the book as well. So, well, how about after this phone call, I'll reach out to you and maybe I can connect you with some people, help you out. But for everybody watching,
that would be amazing.
Yeah, for everybody watching, when I publish this, I will make sure that once the book goes live, I will either update the description or somewhere in the comments below. But Gray, it is Gray, right? Gray Raymond Small, right?
Yeah, my legal first name is Gray, but I changed it several years ago to go by my middle name because of an experience I had at church. A friend of mine was praying in the Spirit over me one day and praying in tongues. And at the end of his, it was about 3 minutes. And when he stopped, he said, "I don't feel comfortable calling you Gray anymore because it's the connotation is neither hot nor cold, neither black nor white." And I said, I felt that way for a long time myself. He said, "Well, do you have any idea what to do?" I said, "Well, hold on just a minute. Do you recognize that 3 times during your prayer in tongues, at the very beginning, in the middle, and at the end, you said the name Raymond?" He said, "Well, yeah, come to think of it, I did." He said, "What's significance?" I said, "That's my middle name." He said, "Well, do you know what it means?" I said, "Yes, it's an old Teutonic, pre-Germanic tribe, an origin name that means either great or wise defender and protector." He said, "You're to be known by that." I said, "Okay."
That's awesome. Wow. Well, in that case, yeah. Raymond, we'll stay in touch. I would love to help any way I can to help you get your book out. Whenever you finish it, I'd be happy to have you back on promoting it.
And one thing that I would like, if you want to help promote something, I came up with what I call the Kingdom of Heaven Pledge of Allegiance.
Okay, tell me more.
I've got it on all kind of gear and equipment. Hold, I got to look at my phone to pull it up exactly. Hang on. I've got you on speaker, so I'm going to take a look at the. You still there?
Yeah, I'm there, or I'm here.
Okay, I just want to make sure because I need to pull it up because it's on my Etsy site. All right, this is going to take me a few seconds to get there. I'm sorry this interview is taking so long.
Oh no, I love them raw and real. That's the way it should be. It's just a conversation with a great friend. That's all it is.
Okay, I have 2 different versions. One has for Jesus Christ, one has Yeshua HaMashiach. So I'm going to say, I'm going to use the Jesus one here for y'all. I pledge allegiance to, hold on. My vision is just about shot. Hang on a second. I got to get glasses.
No worries. We got all the time in the world.
I pledge allegiance to Jesus Christ, the only begotten Son, and to the kingdom of heaven over which he reigns, one people, united by his Spirit, with his peace, love, and forgiveness for all. The reason I came up with this is during the 23-24 election cycle, so many people on both sides became so bitter and angry. And I said, in my heart said, Father, we need to have something as believers on both sides of every issue to be able to draw us together and put our focus on the King of Kings rather than on political issues on the earth. And so this came as a result of that.
Powerful. Love it. Thank you so much for sharing that.
And what I can do is I have your connection on my phone message. And what I'll do is I'll send the link to my Etsy site.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I'd love to. Yeah. So you have an Etsy, so people can purchase different things on there.
Oh, everything. I mean, I'm talking about 3-piece luggage sets, glass cutting boards,
something you make. Is it?
T-shirt. No, actually, what it is Printify lets me put my images on whatever And so I don't have to have anything in stock. And since I live on such a super, super, super tight week-to-week fixed income budget, that I'm hoping that this can take off and help me.
All right. Well, for everybody watching, I'll go ahead include the link in the description below. You guys help Raymond out so he can publish his book. So everybody watching, make sure to go to the description below, click on that Etsy link, and purchase something. Help Raymond out. Raymond, thank you so much for your time. Enjoyed this. Appreciate it. We'll stay in touch. Absolutely. Thank you so much. God bless you.
Bye-bye.
Take care.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Hey, if this story moved you, there is definitely more. Every day, someone new shares their supernatural encounter with Jesus. So hit subscribe right now and don't miss what's coming up next. And if you're ready for another powerful supernatural testimony, tap the next video on your screen right now, and I'll see you there.